Ciso. Oh, it's fabulous! A strike to get you up off your seats.
Hello and welcome to Seagulls Social Transfer Special. This is an episode where we're going to bring you our transfer opinions. And of course, I'm always joined by Ben and Ryan, the legends that make up Seagulls Social. And boys, we are going to be talking transfers.
It's my favourite time of the year. It's better than Christmas. I forget Christmas and New Year's. This is what I look forward to. January 1st, transfer window. Bosh.
It's January the 8th.
Bash.
Well, let's just pretend that we film this on the fucks.
That is a good point, to be fair, Ryan. So, just to reiterate,
the magic of Seagulls
January
Social.
the 8th, 1821 right now. So, if there is any transfers that happen, and, at the time of this goes out, this is why, we're doing it on this date at this time. So, just bear that in mind when we're talking all things transfers. So, what we're going to do today is each one of us is going to pick our top 3 transfer targets that we want signed come the end of January. So, we're going to give our rationale, positions, what player we want, all that good stuff. We're going to take it away with Ryan. Please give us your first transfer signing of January that you want Tony Bloom and co to make come the end of the window.
Onions, brother, mate. I want the lad from Copenhagen. I just think it makes so much sense. Is it actually pronounced Bargy? Or is it pronounced something else? Because I actually don't know how to pronounce his name. But I do know that... Is it? Fair enough. Well, I want Onion Bargy, and I want him soon because he does look very good. And he did score against Man United, which means that I can laugh at some of my mates. But no, he looks good, to be fair. And I think definitely on the wings, as we've been talking about wingers, actually, in the last... at the time of recording this, we're talking about the last episode. Whenever it will go out, I'm not quite sure. But... yes, I do think we need a bit of help on the wings, particularly in the short term. And he's obviously one of them Wonderkids that's set for a good future. So, yeah, bring me Onion Bargy, or in actual words, Rooney Bargy.
Yeah, let's just call him Rooney.
I can't actually say his name.
Let's just call him Rooney.
Rooney.
Okay.
Rooney.
Just to follow up on that, I've also chosen Rooney Bargy, and Ryan, I've done a bit of prep on him. I've done a bit of research. So he's an 18-year-old winger, a Swedish under-21 international. He's predominantly a right winger, but can play attacking midfield and up front. And he's made 30 appearances in all competitions, 11 goals, but 0 assists. Now that's a question mark that I wanted to bring up. 0 assists across 30 games, all competitions, which is a bit worrying. Does that suggest he's a bit selfish? Does that suggest he's not, much of a creator in terms of his other teammates? That is a question mark I might put on him. But like you, Ryan, I did watch him make a cameo against Man United, and he did impress me considering he's 18 years of age. And for the same reasons as you, I do want cover in those wide areas. So, Adingra, and with Solly being out injured, we do need depth in that position. I have also gone for Rooney, Onion Bargy. And Ben, how about you?
I did put Rooney Bargy as well. I guess an outsider you could probably say potentially we were linked with. I don't know if it was just the agent being the agent, but Crysenso Somerville could be a good option. We spoke to a Leeds friend of ours, and he was saying that he's very good on the counter attack. So would that be something that suits us? I feel like Rooney Bargy would suit us better, even though Somerville's a quality player and should not be playing the Championship, but. Yeah, I agree, Rooney, but an outsider would be Somerville for me.
Nice. Yeah, so ultimately what we're all saying is we want a winger. A winger is high up on the list. Well, I'll go on then, Ryan. On that then, I'm assuming you've gone for Crysencio. Cry more.
Yeah, I do want him. One, because it'd be quite funny to take a Leeds player, actually.
2 wingers though, Ryan, on your wish list.
But more so... Yeah, I just think I think up front, I think Somerville was always spoken about as a bit more of a Mitoma succession plan. Provided if we lost Mitoma, if we lost a big player in the summer, obviously now João Pedro is being talked about. So I think it's one of those where you just need that extra bit of depth. And I especially think when we're going into this latter end of the season, we've faced our tough moment in terms of getting here and getting through the groups, which there's so many games as we know. I think now you're going to the point of if one of your best players aren't firing, you need one of your other best players to be firing, because we're going to be playing some tough away teams. We're going to be playing in the round of 16 and hopefully into the latter rounds, into the semis and onwards. And these are the sort of games where you need big name players. You need your players to be stepping up. You need goals from all over the pitch. That's where I would probably say it. This isn't to discredit anyone else we've got, but it's also to just say the likes of March obviously gone. There's no guarantee, obviously, Rooney would make any complete transition as he is 18 years old. I think you'd probably want someone maybe a little bit more established just to come in and be ready for the latter rounds of the Europa League.
Yeah, that's fair. If you had to pick one though, because I think maybe realistically you wouldn't get two wingers in this window. If you had to get one, who would it be?
No, it's fair. The thing is, I think it's going to have to be Somerville, just because I know that De Zerbi wants to get a player ready.
Instantly back,
you know, someone that you're going to come in and is going to be ready now. That is not to say that Rooney won't be, but it's probably to say that there's more chance that Somerville will be. But I do quite like the fact that we're looking into the Championship as a side note there, because it goes to show we're looking down the leagues, because there's so much talent down there. You look at the likes of Watkins, João Pedro for us here, but there's been a lot of success rate coming from down in the Championship, and Bellingham, I think, speaks to the volume of it's not a bad place to go shopping.
And Van Heck of Brighton at Blackburn, of course. So even our own players have gone to the Championship and done really well, which is always a good sign. So that's a very good point, actually. Sort of shopping
James
the Championship
Beardle
is not an idea.
in case you haven't seen the news.
And that leads me on really nicely, actually, to my second choice. It's a great segue, because I have gone for a DM, and for that DM, I've gone a bit left field here. I've gone for Wilfred Ndidi of Leicester. Now, the reason why I've gone for him is a few reasons. I think he's a very good DM. I think he gives that physical presence that we sort of need. He's not to the calibre of Caicedo, for example, but he brings that physical aspect and, the legs that we need in that centre midfield position. He's experienced. He's only 26, but he's got that Premier League experience. He's tried and tested in the Premier League. In the Championship, he's made 24 appearances in all comps and scored 4 goals and 6 assists from midfield. Albeit in the Championship, I think that's still a pretty good return for a DM. I think as well, from a money perspective, he won't be that big of a transfer fee. I think, Leicester being in the Championship, they'll probably have to accept a bit of a lower fee. So, yeah, Wilfred Ndidi is my choice.
I mean, they're going to come up.
DM. Yeah, true. That is true. But I still think we would have a bit of bargaining power.
It's not, and also, let's say Leicester do get promoted. It's not to say that they're going to be the same team that they were. They're still going to probably take time to adjust with the whole new squad that they've got. Don't get me wrong, their team is way too good to be in the champ as it is, but where does that team finish in the Premier League? I feel like Brighton would still be a step up for Ndidi, even if he wanted to go in Jam and European football as well.
Yeah. So that's my second. That's my second pick in DM. So
I like that.
That is my second choice. So Ben, what's your second choice signing?
Well, because I love the transfer market so much, I've actually got 7 names down. So it's just picking the top 3. I want to say, just because, and I know you said it, I think off air, don't say him, but because I've been on Barco for so long, I feel like it's only fair that I can have him as one of my targets to get, because he's been on my wish list for so long. But that is boring. So an outsider for fullback, this is a very, very outside shout. I've only really learnt about him the past few weeks because Luton have been doing so well. The Alfie Doughty, it's been really, really good for them, I think. He can play both left back and right back, predominantly left back, but he definitely has been playing right back as well. Both footed. And he's been pretty good for them. So I think an outsider would be him.
Interesting. Alfie Doughty. He's been very good, to be fair. It wasn't someone I thought we were even like in contention for, but yeah, fair shout, right?
No, we're not. Ross Barkley, has some question marks to be answered for. I think he's a very promising player. I mean, obviously, but I think he's punching way below his weight, I think, at Luton. Not saying he would exactly be here and be the world class player he is, but I'm just putting out there while you're on the Luton situation that Barkley's been so good for them, and we know what it's like getting a player like that. getting someone that's a little bit outsider. But
when he
I
was
think-
at Chelsea, we said I'm
to-
pretty sure we said that we could pick him, and then obviously I think he went to Nice after Chelsea, didn't he? But I think we were like, oh, we could get him
Well, we
similar
linked
to
with someone
Lallana.
recently. I swear we were linked with someone recently that's got a bit of experience. I can't remember who it was now. There's someone on Twitter that I saw the other day. I think someone was mentioning Jordan Henderson.
Yeah, Henderson,
which would be funny. Was that it? Which
it was.
Considering most of these Saudi Arabia, I can't see that happening personally. No. But with the Milner and Lallana links, maybe he wouldn't be so surprised. But I think he's currently on a 700 grand a week or something in Saudi, so it would be quite something to take him away for anything. But I think, I don't think Henderson would actually be as bad as you think, to be fair. I think he would actually be a decent player, but the morals sort of go out the window with that one. But no, I think it's hard to, as you say, Ben, I didn't want to overlook Barco because I wanted to talk about him a bit just because of how much, obviously, we are linked with the kid. So that's the reason I am going to bring him up. And Valentin Barco looks like some player. I think a lot of Argentinians seem to really rate him as one of the best talents out there. And I remember the last time this happened, and it was when we signed Moises Caicedo from Ecuador, wasn't it? And we were so sort of unsure as to what to expect. It's one of the first times we were doing it and going out there and finding a new player. But there's something about Barco that seems quite right. He's a very skillful left back who can also play quite high up. He's only going to cost us around 10 million if we do ever actually decide to trigger this release clause. Maybe we'll find out something tonight, knowing us and our luck. But Barco, we definitely need some backup at left back, and probably on the back of the last episode, more so than on the right, where we've now got Hinshelwood covering for Veltman and Lamptey.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just my only question mark with Barco. Look, I'm not going to lie and say I watch him. I've watched the highlight reels. I've seen the videos people have been posting. Like you said, Ryan, he's an incredibly gifted player in terms of his feet. Like, his feet are a joke. He's a bit of a trickster as well. Loves a little nutmeg. He looks really, really skillful on the ball. My only thing is, in that the videos I've watched, there was only a few defensive clips and highlights. So that's my only question mark. Is he going to be good defensively? Because I don't want another sort of Trent Alexander-Arnold situation where... Well, yeah, no, of course, Gareth Bale as well. But, yeah, I mean, look, I'm not saying that an attacking fullback doesn't work, because I think Estepinian is a very attacking fullback. Obviously, defensively, he's still good as well. But, yeah, that'd be my only question mark. Is Barco got the defensive traits that we need? But, again, like I said, I've not watched him enough to make that thing. It's just based on the little clips that I've seen. He looks really good looking going forward. Does he have the defensive attributes to make him a well-rounded player? But, yeah, I'm very excited. I think he's going to be a special talent, I think. Okay, so then final choice then. Who wants to go? Let's go Ben. Final one.
Who am I going to pick? I saw us linked with Bellingham, not Jude, obviously, recently, but then he threw up a stinker against Newcastle and people thought he was a fraud. So, but there was obviously still a player there, and I think that would be really, really cool to get Joe Bellingham, to have one of the Bellingham brothers. And then Jude Bellingham comes to the Amex to watch us play. That'd be incredible. And then I feel like that one would be more realistic than the one I'm going to say, simply because of the wages and that sort of thing. Juventus pulled out of the deal for Calvin Phillips because of the salary and coverage that City were asking for. I think they wanted Juventus to, or they want the buyer or the team that's going to loan him to pay quite a lot of the wages, which is pretty ridiculous, seeing as he's probably on a hell of a lot compared to the teams that he should be playing for. Let's be realistic. If he's on, I don't know how much he's on, to fair, I'll be making it up, but I'm sure it's way, way over what we would be paying. But Calvin Phillips, I think, would do a very, very good job for us. So I'd probably say him, even though it's not that realistic. And then another fullback, just because I feel like Lamptey's just completely gone now. I had Neco Williams as well, the Forest. I think that he's decent, pretty attacking.
Interesting. But Ryan, what do you think of Williams as an option from Forest?
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen it, I've got to be honest. Unless this is just one you wanted, Ben, sorry.
Oh no, this is. I think this is a wish list. This isn't realistic stuff, is it?
Okay.
It's 3 signings that you want to be made by the end of Jan.
Oh right, okay. In which case, yeah, I mean, I must admit, a lot of that Forest team's quite handy. I think there's a lot of individuals there that Dominguez is one that I really wanted at Brighton when we lost Caicedo and McAllister. He just looks so useful. And
Mate,
since
Gibbs
he's been
White at
there,
Brighton.
he's almost gone on leaps and bounds.
Imagine Gibbs White at Brighton.
Gibbs White and De Zerbi would be a joke. Like, he would be so good for him. It would actually be ridiculous. I would love Gibbs White. And I think he's got a bit of that wind up in him as well, where he sort of, he likes it, doesn't he? I think that's good. But I don't think I was on about Forest players purely because I had charged too much money. To be honest, the ones I was really looking at, and I remember, was it last summer or was it summer before? I think it was last summer when we offered the contract to him and he ended up signing a deal again at Arsenal just to sit on the bench, which was always quite weird to me. But I felt like Reece Nelson could have been useful to us. While we're on the subject of sort of forwards, I thought he could have been quite useful. I wonder if we'll go back in for him, because I heard that a couple of Premier League clubs are still in or looking at getting him, and obviously it's not worked for him, has it, this season? Let's face it. He was so good when he went to Hoffenheim on that loan, if you remember, when Sancho went to Dortmund. And I'd love to see a little bit of Reece Nelson under De Zerbi, because I think I fancy most of them sort of technical players.
Even Smith Rowe at Arsenal, he's not getting a look in. I know Aston Villa are pretty interested in him, but another one that would be unbelievable for us.
And there was that centre back as well we're linked with, wasn't there? The Pavlovic. I can't remember how to say that, but I remember seeing him linked a couple of weeks ago. Centre back from Salzburg. So I don't know too much about him. I think he's only like 22, but I did see we were linked with him. Another left-footed centre back. Shock, Brighton loving left-footed centre backs.
Interesting, actually, because you both mentioned, I just wanted to ask actually, because you both mentioned a few attacking midfielders. You mentioned Ross Barkley, you mentioned Joe Bellingham, and you've also mentioned a few other ones that can play in that attacking midfield role. So my question is to you boys, do you think Brighton need another attacking midfielder? Do you think there's other positions we need more? And Ben, you can kick us off.
No, I'd say CDM, a defensive midfielder, is a high priority. If we get Barco, that would be the next on my list. And then right back coverage. In English, mate.
The one that I swear it's like a Wonderkid on Football Manager or something. But we actually are linked with him, according to Simon Jones from Daily Mail. So again, he's another midfielder that could be useful.
Decent, yeah. CDM,
Arthur Vermeeren.
Okay, I get what you're saying about another attacking midfielder. I think there's just so many out there that'll be really, really good for us. So I just get very excited when we talk about them. But yeah, DM for sure. It's just, I think maybe Ndidi, from what we've spoken about, is probably the most realistic one that we've mentioned. It's quite a good shout. Yeah, Ndidi would be a pretty decent signing if we can get him.
Yeah.
Just tell the goal clappers and goal music are absolutely laughing at us right now.
So just quickly then, Ryan, we'll start with you. After Barco, because Barco, we're going to get onto it, but Barco looks pretty much done deal. After the left back spot, what's your big priority signing? Is it the DM or is it another position?
No, I've got to be honest, it probably is. It's just difficult to see where that is and who that is, because I know what this club's like. We're not going to go for someone like Calvin Phillips, for example. Phillips would be on one, too much money. Two, I heard a rumour that he didn't want to move down south. I don't know how true that is, but
classic Leeds.
He's always been up north, isn't he? So
classic Yorkshire.
Leeds boy, now at Manchester. So, I could see that. I don't know in terms of holding mids, if I'm honest, because it's a difficult one to try and predict, because there's so many sort of ones we would just go for a little bit out of the blue. For example, I didn't know who Moises Caicedo was really before we signed him. I didn't know who Yves Bissouma was before we signed him. So the midfielders we've gone through, Alexis McAllister, the same. Central mids that we've signed in the past, I wouldn't say I would have, we should get Alexis McAllister from, Argentinos Juniors or something. And it's like,
to be fair, though,
probably
Ryan,
wouldn't have looked at Argentinos Juniors before.
How many of our recent signings can you say that? Other than João Pedro, and maybe I'm forgetting some, but I can't. All of our signings are always like completely players that you haven't kind of never heard of before, and then they're just suddenly a first team player.
That's it.
I think though, what
that's
I would
probably
say,
what you want.
What I would say though, I feel like we need to sign a bit more of experience, because I think at the moment, I know we mentioned like all players that are like under 21, but I think what we need, at this point, put Barco aside, I do feel like we need a bit more of an experienced player, that one that's sort of tried and tested, like an Ndidi, for example, just to come into that side and sort of just add that bit more of stability. Because it's great signing for the future, but we also need some players for the now.
For that position as well, Maz.
That's why I went for like an Ndidi.
you want Ndidi as that experienced player. Like, he's played in Europe, played in the Prem. Yeah, you don't want to be putting a 19-year-old at DM when we so desperately need one. I think, like, you just need someone for the here and now.
Yeah, we've got Belaber for the future, haven't we?
But a bit like the argument with Somerville over Rooney Bargy, I think you want someone like that instant impact, and Ndidi would be that.
Yeah, I think the closest to experience we're going to get is either someone like a Henderson or someone from the Championship, because I just don't think, like, for example, how Luton, as I said, went for Ross Barkley, went for Andros Townsend. They've been really good for them because they've just got that sort of calibre that they needed to stay up. Probably Barkley is punching lower, as I said, but Andros Townsend's a great player for them. I think that's it's difficult where you're going to find that, because are you either going to look in the Championship and look at someone like João Pedro, who's been in Watford relegated, then sort of pushed mid-table, but been the big fish in a small pond? Is that what you'd want, like a Somerville in Leeds? Or would you want someone that's been gone somewhere else, like Henderson, for example? I'm not saying Henderson exactly, but that profile of older player that's won a lot, that's gone abroad, wants to come back. I don't know. I just don't think that's very Brighton unless they're literally going on a cheap deal.
Yeah, but my only thing on, let's say, Jordan Henderson is I just don't think he's got the mobility that he once had. I just don't think he's got. For me personally, I just would not want to see Henderson. I think he'd be on, first of all, way too much money. And we've got those experienced heads. I think we've got, Welbeck, Lallana and Milner as those experienced heads. Like, do you need another Henderson, like, who's pretty, immobile and just, I don't know what he adds to the team that we don't already have, to be honest.
We're saying we want experience, but then now we're saying we don't want experience. So it's like, what profile do you want? Do you want someone from the Championship, or do you want someone from the Milner mould? Like, it's two very different types of experience, but it's experience nonetheless.
Yeah.
I think the baggage that Henderson now brings with his move to Saudi Arabia would be a bit too much. I feel like, imagine how much stick he's going to get by all the travelling fans every single time he touches the ball because of the decision he made.
You can't blame him.
I don't think it's something the club would probably do as well, with the whole what he stood for the Rainbow Laces, and then all of a sudden jumping ship to Saudi Arabia.
No, definitely. All right. Well, there you go. That is our transfer suggestions for this window. Hopefully, Bloom or Barber, you're watching this and you're going to take a few of our suggestions on board. We'll see. But we have talked about a lot of players here. So what we'll do... Oh, there you go. Win Stanley, you can do one. So don't watch this, mate, because you're just going to poach all our players. Cheers. Right. Quickly then, boys.
For you, really good price for Mo Dahoud, my friend.
We'll talk about linked players. So we mentioned a lot of them. So just quickly then, I'll do a quick rundown because there's just one that we didn't mention, which I had on my list. So of course, Valentin Barco, deal looks to be very close. A bid of $10.5 million with a 10% sell-on fee. Looks like we're going to pay. We're going to pay that at some point. And City, Juventus, Chelsea, Leipzig, Atletico Madrid all wanted him, but it looks like we're going to beat them to that signing, so that'll be an amazing signing. Joe Bellingham, as we've mentioned, Rooney Bargy again we've mentioned, but the last one was Samuel Illing Jr., who is a English left winger, plays for Juventus. He's 20 years old, and he's made 10 appearances in all competitions with 1 goal and 1 assist to his name, and he's an ex-Chelsea academy player. So just to stick one on to Chelsea, imagine he came here and set the world on fire. That would be amazing. But anyone know anything about him?
That's the first I've heard of him.
Samuel
no, not
Jr.?
really.
So he was actually...
I did look a bit about him. Go on.
No, sorry, I was just about to say, shout out to Dagan on Twitter. He's got like a transfer spreadsheet, which he updates for Brighton. So if anyone wants that... let us know and we can link you to that. But shout out to Dagan. He's got a spreadsheet with like loads of like transfers and stuff. So he was actually on there and he's been linked with us apparently. So Ryan, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm just saying I think I saw when he got linked a while ago. I think it was back in the summer, and then he's obviously come back a light now. I think he scored yesterday or maybe the day before for Juventus. He's a good player. Very, very useful, very skillful, very quick. Again, it's another forward player. De Zerbi loves his forwards, mate. Is what we can take away from everything. But just to touch on the Valentin Barco deal, just because what we said about the 10.5 million thing. So I went into the financials quite well. I can't remember the link, but again, I'll put it in the comments if I do find it. But the actual offer that we put through for 10.5 million, 10% sell on, was rejected, or at least it's likely to be rejected tomorrow. As of Tuesday, that release clause goes from 10 million to 14 million.
14.
So the release clause changes tomorrow, which is why they're dragging it out. We could play the release clause up front, but we haven't done. We've chosen to nice them and give them a 10% sell on in 2 installments, I think, for the 10 million. One this year, one next year. But basically, Boca don't want that. They want the money straight up. They want the release clause. So Brighton have tried to sort of bat around it and be nice and keep on good relations. Whereas Barco's just said, I'm happy to go if they're going to pay the release clause, which we can do at any point. I would imagine, if anywhen, it would be tonight, because the release clause expires tomorrow. The release clause changes to 14 million tomorrow. So that's, I think, really worth noting, is that we probably will find out something about Barco one way or another within the next 24 hours.
Love that. There you go. That is the transfer update from
I felt I was watching
Brighton
Fabrizio
Insider.
Romano then. That was insane. I was sucked in.
Yeah.
I would take that.
Love it, Ryan. Thanks for that update. And then finally, boys, outgoings. So I
Sorry,
don't know if
Ryan,
you boys have seen.
Maz, there is one player we've been linked with this Jan, but I think we've given up on him, and we're going to go for him in the summer. What's his name? What's his first name? The second name's Cashin, but I can't remember what his first name is. From Derby, the centre back.
Aaron,
yeah,
21.
Yeah, I think we tried to get him in the summer as well, and then that fell through. Now we tried to get him in Jan, that's not worked out. I think it's because Derby are actually doing quite well in League One, so they kind of want to hold on to him. But yeah, that seems like it's a player we end up getting in the summer rather than now.
Well, there you go. Well, then that's why we're talking about the January transfer window, Ben. Yeah. So thanks for that update.
We tried to get him this January, obviously.
I joke. I'm messing with you. Right. Let's talk about outgoings. Steven Alzate, apparently Brighton tried to convince Rangers to buy the midfielder. However, his profile wasn't seen as a priority by the Scottish club. But Alzate's contract is due to expire this summer, so it looks like he will be out the door in January. Ryan, are you upset that Alzate hasn't worked out at Brighton?
Yeah, mate. It's breaking news. Steven Alzate fan is upset that Steven Alzate is going. I liked him a lot, as you know. It's a bit of a shame, but I suppose we've moved on as a club and things have changed and we're not the club we used to be. I suppose he's quite similar to Gilmour, just Gilmour's a lot better than him, so that's where we're at. Unfortunately, the 2019 era of our youngsters trying to push through just weren't at the level that we're at now, and I think the way we've changed the last 4 or 5 years is living proof of that. Your Aaron Connolly's, your Steven Alzate's, once starting, once Wonderkids. It's just a new era. Not to say that they're bad players by any stretch. It's just that next level, isn't it now?
Yeah, definitely. And Ben?
Oh no, I couldn't have put it any better myself. I was going to mention about how obviously when Alzate came onto the scene, we were thinking, like you said, Ryan, a Wonderkid. He's going to be our star player soon, but yeah, the way the club has changed, I don't want to completely say what Ryan said, but yeah, the way the club has changed so drastically in these past few years, it's just been quite hard for him to catch up and keep up with the level that we've been progressing at.
Yeah, I think it's a real shame. It didn't work out for him. Yeah, for whatever reason, it just doesn't fit De Zerbi's style or system for whatever reason it might be. And I don't think he's actually fully kicked on as well. There was some good cameos from him, and then he didn't really go to that next level, did he? So yeah, it's a real shame, but it looks like he will be out the door this January. So that leads me on to a final question to both of you. And Ben, we'll start with you. Is there anyone you'd like to see be sold or loaned out?
Well, I know who Ryan's going to say because he said it earlier in the episode about Carlos Baleba potentially getting a loan, but can we afford to loan him right now? Don't know. Maybe it's worth keeping hold of him. Let me quickly have a little run through the squad. Who could do with being... I mean, we need most of them. Do you think Yakamoda cuts
Ben's
it? Do you
doing that?
Do you think Yakamoda could do with a loan? I think maybe he could be the only one that I would say that's fit right now. Because I think Facundo Buonanotte definitely is is a lot better in the team than Jakob Moder is. So maybe Jakob Moder would have the one to get a loan to see where he's at.
Just quickly on that, Ryan, I want to bring you in here. I saw some murmurs that, basically I saw a few people mention that Facundo to go out on loan. What are your thoughts on that? I think he's been brilliant, but what are your thoughts?
Crazy. No. I don't know what they've been watching, but to loan out Facundo at this moment would be completely the wrong decision. No, he needs to be in the team. He's one of our best players. Well, one of our better players at the moment, and he's only getting better. To loan Facundo now would be probably the worst thing we could possibly do for his career's development. So. No, maybe Moder. I can see that.
Agreed.
Maybe to get some fitness up and confidence, but not Facundo. Definitely not.
The way Facundo's improving, and I want it to be the same way that Enciso's second half of the season was so good. If Facundo can emulate that or even come closer, then it'll be incredible.
Yeah, no, agreed. I think the only one for me would be Baleba. I think that's the only one I'd maybe. But again, it goes back to your question, Ben. Can we afford to do it with the lack of centre midfielders we have in the team? But yeah, he's not exactly getting much game time as it is right now. So I think it'll be good for his development to go out somewhere on loan and get consistent playing time. Even let's say go to the Championship, like we mentioned earlier, it could be a great place to learn his football and get better and get fitter. Because we mentioned it in another episode. He's clearly lacking fitness. He's also just not up to speed with the quality and the demands of what De Zerbi wants right now. So I think for me, definitely Baleba would be my choice to go out on loan. I think that's the only one.
Here's a good way to end the episode and go full circle. We get Ndidi. And we loan Baleba to Leicester. Bosh.
Look at that, bash.
Or we go to Luton and ask for them for Barkley and loan them Baleba for the rest of the season.
Barkley ain't it? No.
That wasn't actually my opinion. I can't nick that.
Okay. So just finally then, boys, any other things to add to the January transfer window? Anything you wanted to mention? Any players you want to bring up?
A new set-piece coach.
No, we've been scoring set pieces now,
Yeah,
we've started scoring set pieces, mate. Look at that.
He's kept his job for another week. Yeah, he's kept his job for another week. Wow, fair play. one fucking corner. Jesus.
All right. No, I'll take that as a no then.
But no, I do.
I'll take that as a no to the question.
Focus on holding mids. Focus on holding mids.
Holding mids.
I don't know who, don't know where, don't know how much, but I don't care. Just get them in, whoever it is. I'll leave that down to the recruitment team because they'll know a lot more than I do.
Yeah. Of course. And then, of course, everyone watching, listening, please do leave your comments down below. We always like to read them and get involved with conversations. So please do let us know who you'd sign. If there's anyone you'd want to come to Brighton Hove Albion, make sure you do that. And of course, if you're watching, do like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff because it does really help. We do appreciate it a lot. And give us a 5-star review on Apple and Spotify. But without further ado, we have been Maz, Ben and Ryan. And we are Seagulls Social, the greatest Brighton Hove Albion podcast in the world. And we shall see you on the next one, which might be a little quiz. We might be able to do a little quiz. So stay tuned. Peace.